Hello, everybody out there. This is Matthew, and I think this is our third or fourth webinar of this year. It's how to create a landing page that actually converts. We're going to start off with talking about who we got here today, some of our speakers. I think you guys are going to be super excited about who we have here. One of our first speakers up is Ollie Gardner, and Ollie is the co-founder of Unbounced, and he's seen more landing pages than anybody else on the planet. I believe he's coined the term conversion center design, and it's developing the theory behind its 7 principles. When he's not trying to rewire conversion methodology, Ollie spends his time mulling over ideas like legally changing his name to landing page.
True story.
Extra SEO love from his guest host bio. Another speaker we've got here today is Pep Laya, and I hope I said your last name right, Pep.
Yep.
And he is he's definitely a conversion optimization pro. He runs Conversion Excel, blog, and Marketech, and I'm guessing I'd have to say he's probably one of the world's most favorite conversion optimization agencies. Pep helps companies get even more revenues from their existing traffic by focusing in on conversion optimization, which is really what we're going to be talking about today. And the next speaker we have here is Hunter Boyle. Hunter Boyle is the founder of Optimization Copilot. He's been featured in numerous places like Entrepreneur, Newsweek, Success Magazine. He's the former editor of Marketing Experiments and of the Internet Marketing Report. And Hunter's an avid traveler. In fact, we just found out today, I don't know if I can announce it. Can I say anything or no?
Sure, you can drop it out there. Go for it.
Yeah,
Big announcement.
He's moving abroad to Australia, making a big move, which we're really excited for him. He's already allowed us to crash on his couch in future trip visits to Australia, and he's a big lover of craft beer. I think pretty much everybody here is probably a big lover of craft beer, I'm guessing, and loves photography. And our other speaker here is Brian Massey, and Brian Massey calls himself the conversion scientist. I think most people know him by that. I mean, he's got the lab coat to prove it. I think he's wearing it today. He's the founder of the website of company of Conversion Sciences and the author of the book Your Customer Creation Equation, Unexpected Website Formulas of the Conversion Scientist. So those are our speakers today. Before we get on to the actual topics and jamming down on some teardowns, we want to talk a little bit about who's behind the scenes here. We want to give a big virtual high five. If you guys could just give a big virtual high five to some of the people behind the scenes. We've got Joel, Goran, and Dwayne, and they've really done all the work to put this together. My name's Matthew Hunt. I'm the host for the webinar. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Powered by Search. For some of you who want to catch the recording of the webinar, it's going to be available March 31st. You can find it either on our blog at Powered by Search, or if you go to poweredbysearch.com/2015-webinar-series, you'll be there. And if you're in the recording right now, we'll actually send you, if you're actually in the webinar right now, we'll actually send you a recording to all the attendees. Today's hashtag, and this will be the hashtag for the webinars, it's hashtag Marketing Fanatics. And the reason we've named it that way is because we're interviewing people who are the best at what they do, and they're extremely passionate about what they do, hence fanatics. The topics to be debated today, we're going to talk about the basics real quick of just what CRO is and landing pages are if you don't know what it is, for any newbies that are out there. Then we're going to get into some landing page teardowns. We're going to look at actual landing page and jam on how there's ways that we could have made it better. We're going to talk about top tools that people are using in the industry. We're going to open it up at the end that we can have some audience questions. So ask your questions. Feel free to put them in the chat section, to hashtag them in Twitter, and people behind the scenes are going to grab them, collect those questions, and send them over to me, and we'll try and ask them at the end. And if you hang into the end, we want to hear your thoughts on the actual webinar. So we're going to be, you take a little survey letting us know how we did, what you liked, what you didn't like. We're going to pick one winner from that survey and give away a $50 Amazon gift card. So into some of the basics. I'm just going to ask you guys, I'm just going to give you sort of one question each. Why don't we start with Ollie. Ollie, what is a landing page?
Well, you could think of it like a landing page is any page that you can arrive at, but when you're thinking about marketing campaigns, a landing page is a page designed specifically for that marketing campaign. 2 things you need to think about. Never start a marketing campaign without a dedicated landing page, and conversely, never create a landing page before you've defined your campaign goal.
Great. Thank you. For those people out there who don't know what CRO is or sort of what it stands for, why don't we ask Pep, Pep, if you had to sort of describe what that is, could you tell the newbies out there what we're talking about today?
Yeah, of course, I hate the term conversion rate optimization because it's not about the rate. But let's say conversion optimization, it's essentially getting more of your visitors to take action, buy, sign up, download, whatever your goal for that particular page might be. So getting more people to do that.
Great. Hunter.
Yeah.
What do you love about landing pages?
Well, I think one of the main things is that because they work a little bit differently than a site, like Ali mentioned, any page on a site can be considered a landing page, but the fact is landing pages tied directly to user intent. So unlike a site where you have a lot of different options, if someone is seeking something specifically and the landing page is doing its job to provide that, you can get a lot better results. It makes a lot better connection with user intent, and then your conversions and your results are really dramatically higher than if you are kind of sending people to just your site in general or even kind of a subsection. You can really get better response and results from the conversion.
Cool, man. I think that's a good explanation of why you should love landing pages and focus on that. I got a question I'm going to ask all of you guys, and it's about your best win, and it doesn't mean that it necessarily means the win that drove the most revenues, but what I'd like to hear is about something that really maybe surprised you with some of your conversion optimization. One particular situation where someone else could maybe learn from that. Why don't we start with, we haven't heard yet from Brian, but I'm going to ask each of you this, what's your greatest win around conversion optimization? Brian, you go ahead first.
The greatest win, I mean, they're all fun. That's the beauty of this business, is all of the wins feel good. In terms of the most interesting, it's usually whatever the last one was. We've been having a lot of fun with some businesses who have walked away essentially from their mobile traffic, and we've been able to test our way into turning it into money and leads. So I think right now that's the most interesting and most fun stuff we're doing is around optimizing for the mobile devices.
Cool. What was one thing that you found when you were optimizing for the mobile that surprised you, that turned into improving conversions for this particular client or that situation?
Well, we developed, I guess, what is technically called a spreader at this point, in which a site that was totally unoptimized for mobile. In fact, the service couldn't be executed on mobile. We asked folks to give us their email, and we would send them a reminder when they got back to their desktop so that they could design this sign. And there was there was a nice win there in terms of we got people to go in and buy the products, and some very interesting behavior. In particular, people are getting the email and coming back to the site on mobile. So, I mean, there's some interesting challenges there.
So basically what happened, if I'm understanding correctly, is that you sent them to this mobile land page. You couldn't serve them the type of experience or product that you needed to on mobile. So instead, you decided to ask for the email address and said, look, we can deliver this to you once you get back to your desktop. So enter your email address, and we'll start the education process around why we're awesome and you should buy our shit.
Exactly.
Yeah? That's what happened?
That's what happened.
That's cool. I don't think I would have thought about that. I think I would have tried to make it work on mobile, but sometimes maybe you just can't. And so the next best thing is to say, hey, it sucks on mobile. Give me your email address and show you, how sexy this is on desktop.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Who's up next? Let's go for Pep. Pep, come on. What's your win? What's your greatest win around conversions?
Well, we have to also tell the viewers here that conversion optimization is not about getting a win. Okay. It's a never-ending process, a series of wins, and you get to the result by iterative testing, by finding one nugget that you build upon, and you find something else, and you find something else, and that's the win at the end. So if your mentality is to go for a quick win right here, you're just doing it wrong. So that's not what it's about. An example, I was optimizing a landing page for truck drivers looking for a new job. And through qualitative research, we figured out that these guys are busy. Most of the traffic was mobile traffic, so they didn't have time to read a lot. They're also kind of simple people, maybe.
I hope they're not driving while they're surfing your site.
So by learning that, we started to just radically simplify the landing page, the experience, and it's like we made it a little bit simpler. Oh, it worked better. We tested it. Made it more simpler. Again, it won. There was a point where we made it too simple. So maybe adding a little bit of friction helped at the end. But so basically, you have to find an insight that works for your audience and just keep building upon it.
That's really interesting and really cool. And I'm really glad that you brought up the point that CRO is not just going for one win. It's something that goes on forever. Ideally you would never really stop trying to improve upon that. So that was really interesting. So at the end of the day, what you found was, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that the success came from understanding sort of the buyer, the personas there, and that
exactly, and the context where they were using the page.
Yeah, neat, really neat. I love hearing stories about that and how it's different. So that's fun that you were optimizing a mobile page for truckers. I never would have thought of that. That's cool. All right, Hunter. I think you're up next. Let's tell us a story. About conversion that would be really useful for us. Something interesting.
Yeah, and this is great because it talks right to what Pep was just saying there, that it is a process, and that if you're just looking for one quick win right off the bat, a lot of times you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
But not always. We have worked with a university up in New England on some of their admissions info requests, basically lead gen pages tied to PPC, and they had a design that I don't want to say it was kind of easy to sort of do, but there were a lot of things that could be done to it rather than stringing those out in a series of incremental tests. We started with kind of a radical redesign right off the beginning to sort of find a couple of areas to dig deeper into, like Pep mentioned, over time. But that initial experiment, even without really changing the AdWords or messing with the campaigns, just changing around some of the factors and elements on the landing page, got close to a 300% gain right off the bat. So you can imagine how the marketing manager kind of took that news and used that to really get buy-in for the rest of the testing beyond that point. So you kind of shift into incremental and the whole string of the campaign. But that I still like as an example because it really shows how if you're using some principles to figure out which areas are going to have the biggest impact, sometimes you can get a really nice result right off the top and then keep digging from there.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good point. So, I mean, I don't know how the rest of you guys feel about this too, but we're talking about doing small. So a lot of people sometimes talk about doing smaller tests or one test at a time. But if you're looking at a landing page for a company, and I mean, it's just against not following all the ABCs of best practices, do you approve that sometimes doing an initial radical change is okay to go? And I mean, in this example, Hunter, it worked for him. It worked well. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've hit the local maximum, right? There's nothing else you can do to optimize that page, so you have to go for a radical change so that you can hit that global maximum, right? It's our landing pages obviously are amazing. They're really hard. It's really hard to move the needle. When we send out a webinar email, the landing page converts at 70% all the time.
So you don't need to change big things.
We tried to change little things and it doesn't work because the motivation's that high. These are people on our list that show up every time. There's nothing really you can do to impact that other than have more interesting people on the webinar.
Cool. Well, Ollie, while you're on the floor there, would you like to share a story about, something that was really exciting for you around converting on landing pages?
Well, it's a technique I call conversation momentum. So the context that exists before the click is different depending on your inbound channel, right? There's intent for search, but there's not a lot of context.
Right.
But if you have an email, you've already started a conversation, right? It's a conversational tone. You need to carry that to your landing page, not just have it generic, like here's information. You need to speak to the conversation you started and just be more human and friendly. We do that all the time now, and sometimes we go back and test it against the stilted generic one, and it consistently wins. Because I think it's just a more delightful experience.
So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that you may need a different landing page, or at least the sales copy on that landing page may need to be different based on the type of traffic that you're sending there and where it's coming from. So, if you have already a relationship with them and it's via email and they've been on your list for a long time, you might be able to have a different tone than versus having the intent that's coming from like organic search or paid search for a first-time visitor. I think that's really interesting. So you're recommending that people might need to have more than one landing page, even though it's the same product or service that they're pitching?
Yeah, exactly. And it also muddies the waters. If you send everything to one landing page, you're getting, for our webinars, 70% from our email list. If it's a partner email list, it's 50%. Paid, it's 12 to 17, and social, it's 6%.
Yeah.
But you only know that if you use different landing pages, and then you can optimize them based on that.
Yep.
The 70%, we're not going to affect that. But the 6%, maybe we can, because there's a lot of room for growth there.
Yep. Yeah, totally. I mean, we do a lot of that here often, right down to like job title. It could be the same stupid product that we're selling or doing, but, you change it completely based on the job title and some of the, pain points that they have specifically there. So that's neat. Well, let's get on to the next question. This one's always my favorite question, guys. This is, what was the fail? Give me an epic fail, an experience, a story that you had where shit just went wrong or you just didn't set it up right. Why don't we start with, Pep, what was something that, just took a left-hand turn when you were trying to test it?
Never seen the landing page I couldn't improve. True story. No fails. Everybody fails if you only have one try, if you only have one test.
Right.
I mean, that means that you need a crystal ball, or the website needs to be just so terrible that it's impossible to not get it right.
Right.
But I mean, given in long enough time, anybody who knows what they're doing can improve any page.
Right. Right. Why don't we go to Hunter? Hunter, you've been testing for a long time. Was there ever a test that you set up that you thought was going to win and it just didn't win?
There was the biggest fail is actually not the test itself necessarily. It was just kind of one of those scenarios in-house where the analytics wasn't properly set up. So It seemed like it was in the pre-testing. And then when it went live, it was not, and then it lost about a day and a half worth of the initial kind of launch analytics. So, I mean, you can recover from that, but that's a big part of the push. So, yeah, that is why kind of double testing or double checking the analytics every time, pre-test and, 10 minutes after launch, as soon as real-time results start coming, is so important to make sure that never happens again.
Yeah, I've seen that happen a few times where things are not set up properly, or you didn't think about how it was going to be measured appropriately, and you waste some spend testing something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care if a test goes wrong and a variant loses to the control. I mean, you still learn things from that, and there are other things that you can keep doing. But without the analytics, then you have nothing to learn. You're kind of running around in the dark. So that is like the all-time big fail to prevent and watch out for.
Yep, totally. Brian, if you had to give some advice out there for people who are starting to get into this, what are some of the fails that you see them hitting when they're trying to do, conversion optimization for the first time, like common things that they forget to set up and do?
For those of you that are generating phone calls from the web, which for high-ticket items is really, really important, we set up a test for a client and started it running, and it just started winning big right out of the gate. We were like breaking our arms, patting ourselves on the back, but of course, whenever you see something like that, the first thing you think is, wait a minute, is there something wrong here? And it turns out one of the new numbers that we provisioned for one of the tests had been used before by somebody else and was getting a lot of robocalls.
Oh no!
So, while we were all excited and we touched base with the customer, and they're like, "Yeah, we're getting all these crap calls. What's going on?"
No.
So we had to restart that test, and fortunately, it's one of those things you catch early on. So.
Right. And Ollie, I don't know if we asked you yet or not, but is there something if there's like a couple things that you see people make a mistake on when they're starting out on this journey for the first time? What are those couple of things that they're doing that's common?
Well, this is not necessarily what other people are doing wrong, but a fail I had. There's something I call closers. These are things, design elements or copy that you put close to your call to action to encourage someone to click.
Okay.
Right? So this is an e-course we did, written by me. The context was they get a lot of me. So I put my face under the button saying, "I hope you enjoyed this free course," and then Ollie Gardner, co-founder at Unbounce. My face lost by 14%.
You got that 14% look.
So yeah, you think you're doing the right thing, and that's the important lesson, is that you have to test it, because you're so often completely full of shit.
Right. Yeah. So what you don't really know. Hey, speaking of your shopping there, have you guys seen that product, the photo feeler? You can upload your headshot and have people sort of judge, I guess, how that profile photo works. It's kind of a neat tool as well.
I've not heard of that. Photo.
Oh no,
it sounds kind of perverse.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's
hot or not for headshots.
It's hot or not for business. Yeah, hot or not for business. But if you go to photofeeler.io.com or
it's kind of a creepy name, photo feeler.
Nope.
Creeper.
All right, well, let's get into the fun. I think this is where people really learn the most, guys, is when we can actually look at a landing page and do a teardown and work on, suggestions on what could make it better. So the first one we decided to put up was Home Depot's. I think they've got I believe the offer is, and I'm not 100% clear what the fucking offer is here, but it looks like sign up now, it's simple for something. Where would we start improving upon this, or things we'd want to test? Let's start.
Don't have data breaches.
Well, let's start with Brian. Brian's got some thoughts on this already. Don't have any data breaches. This is step one. Step two.
If you were gonna kill a page, this would be about what you would compose to kill the conversion on that page. Oh, about our data breach. By the way, could we have your email address and name?
If there was one thing that you could change here, Brian, what would be the first thing that you'd change on this page that you'd want to test?
I think the first thing would be sign up now. It's simple. Should be swapped with "you'll be the first to know about great offers, new products, and more." That's the buried lead. I would make that the big, easy to spot thing.
Even that is a shitty offer. I mean, who cares?
No, those transactional love that sort of stuff.
Sign up for a shitty offer is what you were saying, Pep.
I mean, you need some instant gratification. This is maybe sometime in the future there will be a spam email that will send you that you actually like. That's the offer here. I mean, you need to offer an instant gratification, something that I'm interested in right now. And the second thing is, I mean, you're asking for my zip code, which I get it because Home Depot is local. But then why you ask for city and province? Zip code will tell you that.
Right.
How stupid is that?
Right. So remove one of the fields would be something we would do. There's no.
And where's the button? Where's the subscribe button here?
It's at the bottom.
It's below. They put it at the bottom of the thing.
So you have to fill in your address and then go add to cart. Add my address to cart.
Yes. How many people are like, what? They fill out all the fields and they're like, what the hell?
It's amazing. It's amazing that the ABCs are just not handled on these big brands regularly. I mean, we see this rampant everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, if companies become too big, the departmental politics. I mean, everybody works in silos, and it's nasty.
Well, there's an advantage to having a well-known brand and a brand that you've invested in, that people can force their way through some real crap.
Right.
Yeah,
they feel trust for you.
Yeah, totally. So what we got on this page, and at the end of the day, this is a pretty horrible. We put it up because we knew it was horrible. There's no clear offer. It looks like our headline. Too many fields for the form. We don't know where the submit button is, and we're not even clear what we're going to get afterwards. I mean, how about we ask Ollie? What are sort of if you had to pick sort of 4 or 5 or let's say 3 ABCs that they should hit here that would dramatically make a big difference. What are those 3 things they need to do this page to make it better?
First, attention ratio. That's the number of things you can do to the number of things you should be doing. There's one thing you're supposed to be doing here, but they're saying shop for this, search for this, add to cart. That's not relevant to the campaign goal here.
Right.
So that's the first big mistake. Clear all that stuff out. But information hierarchy, and this is one of the most important things you're going to see on any page. I would change the motivational stuff immediately. I'd reverse this. Whoops. I would choose the email I want to receive first. Right? It needs a better headline to explain what's going on, but I'd look at the pretty pictures first and go, I'm interested in garden club emails. That's good. I'd do that. And then put the form after that. So I'm making a decision that interests me before I'm going through all that nonsense.
Right.
What is it? Yeah, I mean, they're simple things, but yet the headline needs to say what it is. Like Pep said, the subhead there, or Brian said, the subhead is better than the title there. It's still weak, but I see it so many times. The headline is trying to be clever or it's trying to be whatever, and the subhead's really awesome.
Yeah.
But again, information hierarchy, you got to flip that stuff. And, basically, anyone who has a landing page, look at your headline and subhead. There's a good chance that you put the clarity in the subhead.
Right. That's a really good point, actually.
And you kind of think that people that develop these pages are really, really lazy because it's simple, it's easy, it keeps showing up again and again and again. So they're like, wow, no one's ever going to fill this out because I wouldn't. I don't know what they're going for there.
And I don't actually understand why they wouldn't use an immediate discount for signing up that you're either going to get people in the store with or get them to shop online with.
Right.
If there's no mention of that, you agree to receive promotional emails, and even like Pep said, even if you do that, which is weak, then you're still waiting for something. Put a 10% off or a $5 off, like Bed Bath & Beyond does in the mail every single week. Just throw something up there right away and get people to sign up for what they want to do right off the bat with that. What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys don't think promotional email is a good enough offer. Doesn't everybody want that?
Right.
This is Home Depot Canada, so I'm kind of embarrassed being Canadian. Well,
at least it's not in French.
Yeah, it'd probably be more effective if it was. Then you wouldn't have to read that shitty headline. You just
Yeah, at the end of the day, it looks like we're killing a lot of things. Let's go on to the next landing page, guys. I think we could bitch about this one to the cows come home, but
data breach. We help.
All right, Bank of Montreal. Okay, it looks like we've got an offer here to subscribe to for financial markets. So okay, so let's Hunter. I don't think we really got to hear too much from you on the last one. Let's start with you on this. What is wrong with this landing page, and where do we start to make it better?
The first thing is that it's pulling my eyes in just about every different direction between the nav bar and then the sub-nav on the left, the big form, the big clunky form in the middle, and then over to the right there's another 2 calls to action. Sorry, there's 3 in the sidebar. So I can contact the wealth advisor and go to another form. I can select the service and sign in, or I can read new insights, but I could receive the monthly outlook from Jack Alvin, Chief Investment Officer, if I put in my city, country, state, and zip code. So a lot of this really needs to be just pared down, and I think that at least by going back to some of the same principles we talked about on the last one, simplifying the offer and what it is, stay informed, stay prepared is nicer than sign up, but it's still pretty vague.
Yep.
If you actually have legitimate info coming from your CIO, that could carry some weight. So there could be some social proof to be done there. I would definitely strip out a couple of those required fields, or maybe do those on a second version after the click. The submit button. We all know that that's probably the weakest call to action that you could use on that type of thing, and again, taking out that sidebar and all of those distractions, if the goal here is to really get people to sign up and provide some more information, taking some of that city, country, zip code and making that in a second stage and really playing up the value and making the call to action a lot stronger will be the first few things I would try with this one.
Yeah, I think those are great points. I mean, exactly. Like, who's Jack, and why should we sign up for his report? You know.
Yeah. Sell the offer. Sell the offer.
Sell the offer.
Subscribe to Outlook. What am I? Is this a subscription from Microsoft Outlook?
Yeah, that's what
I don't know what this is yet. That naming's terrible. But this is Bank of Montreal, so again, Canadian. I live in Montreal, so they get bonus points for that. Same thing as Hunter. I would put this guy's face there and a little bit of bio, although don't put my face there because it'll lose. But this guy should be.
Well, we should put his face on photo feeler first.
But is this an email newsletter or paper? You're asking for a physical address first, so that immediately makes you think: are you gonna mail me, or are you again?
How's this offer coming? Right? Exactly. What's going to happen next?
And look at the headline. Stay informed, stay prepared. How fucking generic is that? It
Stay
doesn't
gold,
add
Tony boy.
one iota of value to the goal of the page. It's bullshit marketing speak. Hate that crap.
And I think one of the key things here is that this is not a landing page. This is an internal page. It's built on the corporate template. If you're doing a landing page, start fresh. If you can't get a fresh page from IT, go over to Unbounce and start a landing page there. It's just not the right. It's from the start. It was doomed.
Yeah.
Right. Now, do you believe that people should be, on some of their interior pages or pages like this, they should be still thinking about following the best practices of a landing page, even though there may be a nav and a headers that they can click on? They should still consider that.
Definitely. I mean, like Hunter said, that right sidebar, you just take that out and it's already a way stronger page. And that would be like a template change for the site, but it's not hard to have two different templates here. One with the sidebar and one without.
Right.
Remember, it's a bank.
It's a bank. Yes.
It may be really hard.
it would take 6 months. 6 months to do that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go on to the next one. I'm tired of looking at this page. It's making my eyes hurt. All right, here we go. So Pep, we're coming to you. Groupon. Say 50 to 90% Toronto.
It assumes that I know what Groupon is, and they're probably right. But in case I don't know what Groupon is, they could definitely benefit from a blurb, because all those little collage images, they're not adding any value. So instead, I will just add a blurb. Signing up, super easy. The button continue will continue to what? So more specificity could be added there. But otherwise, it's very highly focused, easy to use page.
I like the fact that you even pointed out that if you know what Groupon is, we assume that everybody does. Like, I bet you if I asked my mom, she wouldn't know what the hell Groupon was, and I think that us in internet marketing would go, oh yeah, we all know what Groupon is, but no, not really. This is a really good point. And what's going to happen after, right? I think that's a good point. It's like, well, what's going to happen next to remove that friction of nervousness of, like, I'm not quite sure, and why continue, right? So.
Well, there's some unfortunate keyword substitution going on here. I may be from Toronto, but I don't know what a GTA is.
Right.
So that might make me stop and go, well, do I have to be a member of some university or something?
Right.
What's a GTA? Is that a
Greater Toronto Area?
Everybody knows.
Yeah, Greater Toronto Area.
So that's probably left over from AdWords keyword or geographic category that some engineer pumped into a list somewhere.
It could be. Did anybody have any other ideas on some things that you would want to test to maybe make this landing page better?
Yeah, the interesting thing is that when it's multi-step, usability best practices say that you should have an indication of how many steps there are and what they are, but you have to test that, because sometimes that's good, but it can be bad, like 3 steps really. So you don't know how that's going to impact people.
Right.
Your email address as the subhead here, that's my email. Okay, it's my email address, but what's going to happen? I'd be inclined to bring the offer into this box.
Right.
Because when you have a dark strip at the top, easy to ignore it. It just it's just the nighttime. I don't know. It's easy to move past that. So I would bring some of that down into the overlay design here. It also kind of feels like an overlay. It's like, well, is there something behind here? Like, why have I got this thing there? Because it looks like a light boxy type overlay.
Have any of you guys tested this risk reversal? You may unsubscribe at any time. It's something we've been using, but I've never tested, and I've seen it on a couple of these pages in this that we'll look at here. Is that something you guys have ever tested specifically?
Yeah, we just use it. I haven't tested that.
Risk reversal is an important part of every page, so I think that's probably well done.
Yeah, they've got quite a few here. You may unsubscribe at any time. It's hard to see though and read it, between all the terms that are there. Now it might just because it's on a smaller screen for me. But do you think removing some of those options, like I guess they have a sign in and contacts are already a user?
Yeah, I would move that. May subscribe at any time. I would bring that up to near the button or the email field so that I know that I can undo my addition of my email address, like if that's important.
Have you ever found that whether you have it or don't have it, do you think that it says when you say that it kind of tells people like, oh crap, they're going to spam me because they're saying I can't unsubscribe, versus it just not being there at all? Then you see yourself just getting value in the sense that I can say 50 to 90%.
I think there's a group of people who need that, like older people maybe. I don't care about that stuff. I know I can unsubscribe. We're savvy people,
Interesting. Have you ever tested down to a landing page based on sort of age? Like, hey, younger people don't give a shit. You can put it there, and older people, they definitely need it to be able to opt in because they're worried about getting spammed. That would be an interesting test.
We sometimes use the Internet Explorer segment as a proxy for older, less tech savvy.
Don't hurry.
I've heard that Microsoft are going to.
I don't understand why.
I've heard that Internet Explorer is going away, and they're going to start again with a fresh browser.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Called Chromium.
Microzilla.
All right, enough of this landing page, guys. Let's go on to the next one. I thought there were some really good insights on that. Okay, so this is a landing page. I think it's about getting people to buy their franchise. I think so. This is a HVAC and air, heating and air conditioning franchise, and they're looking for people to buy one. Okay.
And it's the wrong call to action. I mean, filling out this form is not going to transform my business dreams into reality. I'm probably going to get a call, or I'm going to get some information. So the call to action needs to be specific to what you're going to get. The button at least says send my information, but the above the form is really, really important text. I mean, you need to essentially encapsulate the value proposition for completing that form.
That's a good one. That's a good point. Turn your business dreams into a reality. It's not what they're.
Why is reality a logo? Like, why did they put an image in there?
You kind of wonder if it's like putting it in quotes. Turn your business dreams into a reality.
Information hierarchy, information hierarchy, information hierarchy. Where's the fucking headline?
Right.
It's just. And is this a series of steps that I need to go through? Well, it's three completely different things that are nothing to do with what they want you to do. And then
why copy here? Like they ask why join. I don't know. You tell me, dude.
Well, they're telling you, come on, proven values. 1992.
Nobody starts a franchise because I want to share somebody's values. So yeah. Copy is shit, design is crap, attention is bullshit. I mean, there's nothing good about this page. Chick, headset hottie, live chat. No context even for the phone number.
Hotties.com, that would be a good stock site.
And if they're mirroring the nav bar with those three other separate call to action blocks. Yeah. Training and support is there, reasons to invest would obviously go to investment information or take the next step is there. So if you have that in the nav bar, why do you have all three of those blocking what this page is supposed to be doing in the first place?
Right. Yeah.
I hate this page passionately.
It's It's like, you know, the biggest thing I'm seeing in the trend although is, you know, it's just not, a lot of people are not thinking about what they're clearly selling and having a clear sort of single offer. You know, how do you guys feel about that? About, you know, do you ever believe that there's an opportunity to have more than one offer on a page, or should it always just be one clear offer?
These guys are really clear.
One clear offer.
These guys are really clear about what they're selling. They talk all about themselves. They're weeing all over this copy. So.
But not about you, and what you'll get.
Exactly. They don't understand what the visitor is coming, what questions the visitors are coming with. That's the issue.
The takeaways talk about what your visitors want, not about what you want.
Yeah. One page, one purpose. Period.
One page.
There are instances where that's where you should start. But there are instances where you need like a lower level commitment thing there. If people aren't ready to do this, like a safety net call to action, something else that you may do that's a little lower commitment, but you shouldn't be starting with that, I don't think.
Right. Cool. Let's go to the next one, guys. All right, so HubSpot, I mean, let's poo-poo all over this one too while we're at it. What do you guys think? Anybody want to start? Definitely not your everyday product demo.
So I think I gave them 2 gold stars and a smiley face for this. The testimonials they use on this page are not for the product, but for the demo. So the testimonials are very, very close, very applicable to the offer, and I think that is brilliant, and that is what your landing page should be doing. Selling the offer, not your business.
Right. This is an actual landing page now. The last one was as well, but it's nice to see this is, I mean, HubSpot do a good job. They also have the longest forms in the industry. This one's not that bad, but...
How do you feel about these long forms that they have? Do you feel like you can get away with it more in sort of a B2B environment versus a B2C environment?
Definitely, yeah. And it's not often, like we did an ebook swap with HubSpot, so we promoted theirs, they promoted ours. So on our landing page for theirs, we had 2 fields. They had 14 to get the book we gave to them. Their conversion rate wasn't much worse than ours.
But they're doing such a good job of generating leads that they probably have qualification as their primary issue here. So they've got to do some things to bring the serious, or at least the people that are close enough to be qualified that they can afford to take them to the next step. So that might be what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean their product is like a $12,000 commitment.
Paige also assumes that I'm already well familiar with HubSpot because they start off with something, you know, not your everyday product demo. Like, who cares? What's the value here? The second line starts to, you know, open up what it's actually about.
There it is again. Just fucking information hierarchy. If I have to say it one more time, I'm going to lose my shit.
Let's see it. Go for it. No, you're right. That would be a better headline. See how HubSpot can help you grow traffic, leads, and sales instead of definitely not your everyday product demo. That's a much better headline. I mean,
and it starts with definitely not.
Like underneath the form, something like where I'm, you know, worried about a boring demo, and then they say, no, it's actually pretty cool. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think with this one, they probably, if this is a follow-up when you're downloading some of their content, really tend to autofill the forms as well.
Yeah.
So that helps them in a lot of cases get away with a longer form. A lot of times if you download 1 or 2 things from HubSpot and you get back to a page like this, if email is one of the drivers for this, then that form is basically either one field and a click or something like that too. So that helps with it.
Yeah.
I feel a little dominated here. We'll evaluate your website. We'll compare you against your competitors. We'll show you how to. We'll demonstrate. And I'm like, oh, okay. Don't hurt me.
But they have it all caps.
When you say it like that, it definitely feels a lot more aggressive.
Text is tiny as well. I mean, Pep talks about this a lot. It's daunting. This looks like a press release or something.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's hard to digest it all. Yeah.
It's not very visual.
So
of course, we don't know whether visual would do any better.
Right.
I mean,
you think a hero image would help?
I think
it looks pretty cumbersome.
I'd put a 15-second highlight reel of this, not your everyday product demo. Put something in there that says this is actually fun, right? Have some fun commentary, a little. I'd play with that kind of idea if that's their value prop.
I think you need a girl with her hair pulled back and a headset on. I think that would really nail it.
All right, guys. We're gonna move on to the next landing page. I think we're getting I don't think we'll get through all the landing pages today, but that's okay. We'll move on to the next one. Uship. All right. Let's movers compete. Save up to 80% on your move.
Ollie's going to lose it on this one.
Well, this time it's this way. You need to save up to 80% on your move by letting moving companies compete for your business.
Right.
That explains what's going to happen. At the top of the form, list your household goods. What? I got to type in everything I have that I'm going to move? It's I like the steps below the form. That's clarity.
In the form? That's
above the form.
And double down the trust logos. You got eBay and Trustee and Better Business Bureau twice.
eBay. Are you going to sell my shit on eBay?
I mean, this is overcompensating. Overcompensating for anxiety, which means that these guys have something to hide. I mean, they're working too hard.
Right.
You can only say trust me so many times before people start thinking, maybe I shouldn't trust him.
Well, that's the steps. We take your stuff and we sell it on eBay, right? Isn't that what it
Would be good.
That's funny. But yeah, so who said they like the steps down below? I can't remember who was saying that they like, list your stuff. Yeah, that was clarity. Yeah. What about the social proof on the side with their news mentions?
We've been in the newspaper. Who gives a shit?
Right. Those are becoming kind of the new banner blindness in some ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Entrepreneur Journal and New York Times, one more time with a startup or another, another company that's just kind of plastering those all over. Now it's just getting to the point where I hardly even see them.
Yeah. Right. Now, do you think that's just more so for people in our industry, or do you think everyday regular people see it the same way and can see through it as well?
It's like, well, I mean, banner blindness didn't start with our industry, right? Banner blindness started because everybody put banners all over, right? So as these things become ubiquitous and pervasive, then those things start to happen. Why kind of keep testing and watching out for, like, I forget who said it, but just designing based on blog posts that they read and, something 3 years ago that got this amount. You have to be careful.
That's a really
good
point.
Specificity. What did the Wall Street Journal say about them?
Right.
Yeah.
That might have value.
Not the fact that they just bought a link on the page somewhere.
Yeah, maybe the Wall Street Journal said these guys are criminals.
Right. Yeah, don't buy from these guys. All right, guys, we've got one more landing page we're going to look at quick, and then I want to be able to have a little bit more time for a few questions that might be coming in. So I'm going to start looking at some of those questions, but I'm going to let you guys, as I'm going through those questions, let us know on maybe how we could improve this particular page here about ClassPass.
I think that I like the way that this presented the value proposition very, very easily, very quickly. It's fairly tidy. The thing they drop off here is that join the list. So it's like one class, unlimited spam is what they're asking for. That call to action could be improved, but I get the value proposition pretty quickly here.
I mean, I think that the best sentence here is the first sentence of the first paragraph. ClassPass gets you into best studios in your city. Without that, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, right.
My own problem is I can't read it, with the photo behind it. It's hard for me to read what that sort of thing is. Yeah. It's just the wrong color font for this photo for me.
It says group fitness classes. Show a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Very good point, right? Show it as a class, yeah.
It's her and her ball.
So I guess the recommendation is you could test the different hero images to see what would do better.
Sure.
Yeah.
The thing, the trick with a group class, it would get this photo is busy enough against the text. That will probably get, even more crazy. But I like what Pep was saying as well. ClassPass gets you into the best studios in your city. Move that up at the top, and then sort out with the visuals. Like if you do kind of a class photo, put someone big on the right, and then someone a little more blurry with a class, and then kind of keep that same format, but just make it a little bit easier to engage with.
It's a good idea.
And the best studios, what kind of studios? Like fitness studios. Put that word fitness in there, right? It's not a recording studio.
Have you guys ever tried this move, doing these on this ball, these crunches on this ball? That stuff's hard.
I'm doing it right now. The whole webinar. Look at me. So a couple questions, guys, before we go on this landing page. I want to open it up for the audience. I know we're getting close to the hour. I'm not going to be able to, list everybody's questions here, but I want to let you know that those people that are in the webinar, I post them up on Twitter if you can, and I'm sure the guys will be out there. If you use the hashtag, they'll jump in on the conversation. But here's a couple that come in. One question that came in specifically, I think, is a good question, and what makes a good headline, guys? What are we looking for in a headline? It was the question.
Well, there are so many different ways to go about it. You can, make them curious. You can state the benefit. You can state what the problem that you solve. So there is no do this works, approach here.
Yeah,
the easiest way to
go ahead. Yep.
I was going to say that the easiest way to get started is to start with whatever promise brought them there. So what did the ad promise? What did the link in the email promise? Yep. That should be the core of your headline. And then write 20 of them to see the one that to find the one that you feel is most concise and most powerful.
Yeah.
Right.
Use voice of
exactly.
Use voice of customer. Look at what your existing customers say about you, and then because that's what made them successful or convert, and use that as the basis for your headline. So you're communicating something which is attributed with success and enjoyment of your product or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often I find even just asking a question that's stating their pain point will get their attention to want to read more. Questions usually work well too, I think.
Unless the answer is yes or no.
Yes.
The answer to the question has to be, really, how are you going to do that? That's the whole point of a question headline.
I've got a question in here, guys, and this was a good one too, and Ollie, maybe you can answer it because there are some people who are saying they're unclear about what information hierarchy meant, and maybe you could just explain that.
Yeah, it's just putting the right things in the right order. Right? I don't want to see, what should I be reading first? And it's two things. There's visual hierarchy and there's information hierarchy. Information hierarchy is the right information in the right order, and visual hierarchy is giving visual dominance to the most important elements. So you kind of, you focus on this and you come down, down, down. It's a good way to do this is to write all the copy. Just don't look at the design. Take all the copy, just print it out and read it out. Does it make sense in the order you're speaking, that you're writing it in?
Mm-hmm.
Forgetting the layout and everything. And that will inform, copy informs design, not the other way around. You shouldn't have a design and then start plugging copy into it. Right? Just because there are 3 bullet points in the template doesn't mean you need to write 3 bullet points. Maybe you don't need any, maybe you need 5. So start with your copy and read that until it makes sense, and then design for
and then design around the copy. Mm-hmm. Really, I think that was an excellent pro tip to give there. So, guys, there are more questions, but we can't get to them all. We have a couple things that I want to get out as well too. Maybe each of you could list a couple tools that you couldn't live without around CRO, and we'll start with Brian. What are a couple tools that you couldn't live without for doing conversion optimization?
Tools we couldn't live without. I mean, we're in a golden age of tools in marketing. I mean, we can research so many things very inexpensively. They're easy to install on our site. So the split testing tools, obviously, we live and die by those, and they give us an amazing amount of power to test things on the site. And we almost always marry those up with some sort of click tracking software. Crazy Egg is one of our favorites. And some sort of session recording. That gives us the the full gamut of qualitative hypotheses, and then we can go to the analytics or perform a test to help us refine those hypotheses and see if there's really an issue there.
Hunter, how about for you?
Yeah, Brian just nailed it pretty much. I would say, and I'm not just saying this because Ollie's on the call, but Unbounce I found is really flexible and does a great job. So if we're talking about a landing page tool, that's the one that I'm going to say is, top of my list.
And Pep?
Testing tools were already mentioned, so I think Google Analytics or any web analytics tool must have, cannot live without.
Yep.
Session recording tools as well, Hotjar for qualitative stuff and session recordings. And I really like Heap Analytics. Is a less known tool which basically records every single click that you can make on any single page. And so you can create funnels of, so the guy who interacted with this widget and now clicked on this tab and then pulled open this thing, so you can create funnels and see how different actions led to higher conversion rate. So good insights there.
Cool. Ollie, you have anything you want to add on there?
Yeah, just add some clarity to discussions that seem to go on around the internet. People think that Unbounce is a competitor to Optimizer or VWO. We're not. The truth is you need both. You need a website optimization tool to make your website better for the organic traffic coming in there, and you need a campaign tool. If you're running marketing campaigns, which every marketer does, you need a landing page tool. So that's Unbounce. You need both of those things. But something else, because clarity is so important, I like doing 5-second tests at Usability Hub. You take a screenshot of your page, you upload it there, 20 people, you can ask whatever question, like what is this page about?
Yep.
And see how many people get it right. You'd be really shocked at some of the answers you get.
I love using Usability Hub that way. I've been using it for a long time. Yeah. Great tip. Also, usertesting.com and sites like that are also very insightful. You can see your choke points right away. Just recording 5 people going to your page. You're just like, oh my god, this sucks. It's very clear why we suck and what we need to fix. So guys, listen, we're about to get into the survey section, but before we go and ask people to fill out the survey, we're at an hour, and I'm sure we could talk another hour or 10 hours on this, particularly if we had some beers in front of us. But I wanted for people to know if they wanted to get in touch with you, what is the best ways to get in touch with you out there on the web? So we'll start with, again, we're going to go in the same order as last time. We'll start with Brian. Brian, can you tell people if they want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
We share everything that we're learning on their blog, conversionscientist.com. Great place to start.
Great. Hunter, how about you? Do they got to go to Australia to connect with you now?
That's an option if you're looking for that, if you're looking to travel. But otherwise, you can hit me up on Twitter or visit optimizationcopilot.com. And I'll be happy to get in touch with anybody here and talk about CRO, continue webinar, questions, and that good stuff.
You can also go to kangaroofuckers.com.
Oh, that's where we find the picture of you and your boy in that song that was on Facebook last week, right?
I think it's available on GoDaddy. Kangaroo Fucker. Pat, how about you? What's the domain we can find you at?
I have the shortest domain name so far, conversionxl.com. So you can find me over there.
Okay. And Ollie, how about yourself?
Twitter, Ollie Gardner. That's easy. But also, I'm totally open, so you can email me at ollie@unbounce.com if you want to talk directly. oli@unbounce.com.
Okay. And before you guys go, I think the guys behind the scenes here are going to put up a survey, if it's not already up, that you can click on. And if you click on this survey and you fill it out, we're going to pick one person from there randomly and send them a $50 gift card. But what we really want to know is how we're doing. Did you like the webinar? What didn't you like? What do you want to hear in the future? So it'd be great for anybody who's attended if you could click on that link and go fill out that survey. It won't take very long. Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I feel like we barely scratched the surface, and I'm hoping we can do this again in the future. Thank you so much for your time. I think you dropped some real tips that people can walk away with and learn a lot about this webinar. Folks out there that are listening and watching this, feel free to get in touch with these guys the way they said so. And looking forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thank you very much.
Bye. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. It was fun.